Thank you for the presentation. Any questions, sir?
Erudite research, Rutvi. Should I ask you one objective question? Rutvi, do you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I should like to ask you one objective question, as you have discussed mythology in your research paper. What is the scope of prospective research on mythology in context of our great epics and scriptures? I repeat my question. What is the scope of prospective research on mythology in context of our great epics and scriptures?
Sir, it is connected with, there is this presentation of society also. In that time, at that particular society, we find that type of situation. And nowadays, the same situation at some points we find. And modern touch, how she gave that, she create the bold character. In original text, we didn't find this type of character which try to protect themselves. So
Okay,
in this way we can connect.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Proceed, Dr. Matthews, if there is no other question, please.
Okay, thank you, Ruja, for your presentation related to representation of mythology. The next presenter is Prakhar Medhavi, research scholar, PG Department of English and Research Center, Magadh University, Bodh Gaya. His title is Aesthetics of Pain and Plight, a critical analysis of subaltern characters in the fictions of Arundhati Roy, with special reference to Limbale's Akkarmashi.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Roji, good afternoon to you all. As my subject is, of today's presentation is Dalit Literature and Subaltern Discourse, and the title I suggested for this Aesthetics of Pain and Plight, a critical analysis of subaltern characters in the fictions of Arundhati Roy, with a special reference to Southern Kumar Limbale's Akkarmashi. Arundhati Roy has been considered the voice of the oppressed and marginalized classes. She has been vocal on the subject of social harassment and exploitation in last 2 decades. The very concept of Indian Constitution is to create an egalitarian society by including the backward and downtrodden communities, especially the Dalits, in mainstream. If after Baba Saheb Ambedkar, if anyone considered to be the greatest thinker of Dalit discourse, then it is certainly Limbale. And Limbale in Akkarmashi has painted a picture that is really truly appealing to what is, we can say, a real pictures. Now, while analyzing the history of Dalit community in great country like India, we find a very painful phase. Dalit related problems like untouchability, caste discrimination, social segregation, etc. are a leprosy on the face of our Indian society. Discrimination on the basis of untouchability, caste, and color pushes any society towards socio-economic backwardness. Since 1960s, we come across many Dalit writers and literators in the world of Indian literature. In post-colonial period, a revolution takes place in the field of Dalit literature. Realistic novels, poems, and other literatures are composed in many regional Indian language. Voices of enlightenment reach the Dalit community and the stream of contemplation starts. As a result, Dalit thinkers feel their anguish and sympathy and turn it toward their pain. Consequently, this paves in a creation of excellent literature. This is the reason why we find a heavenly solace and beauty in getting the history and the structure of Dalit literature. Bigger the struggle, the more the joy there is in overcoming it. And the culmination of the same joy is when a person portrays his pain in his writing and creates an excellent literature. Saran Kumar Limbale's autobiography, Akkarmashi, is a living example of this phenomenon. The real events and memories that Limbale has depicted in his autobiography reaches the soul and seek it to compel the whole humanity to think as a human being. Saran, the protagonist of Akkarmashi, is a Dalit in two ways. First, is that he was born from the womb of a woman of Mahar caste, which is considered a low and untouchable community in Hindu society. But Saran's tragedy is more something than being untouchable. He is an untouchable as well as Akarmasi, means one who is born out of immoral human relationship. Saran's mother was lower caste, but her father was
Hello.
an upper
Yeah.
caste Brahmin.
Good evening. Good evening.
And with this, there was no matrimonial relationship between Saran's parents. Thus, Saran
मॉर्निंग
had
वॉक
to
पे
face a
अभी तो हम लोग
fierce
का ये चल रहा है बेटा, 4
discrimination and
से
ill
पैनल
treatment in the
डिस्कशन है, 3
society.
से 4.
This
ओके,
story,
हम
Akarmasi,
मिलेंगे 5
is
बजे,
the journey
एग्जैक्टली
of these
5
ill
बजे. हाँ,
treatments and terrible
उससे हो सकता है
tortures.
4:30 भी फ्री हो जाए, लेकिन
Now,
अगर
Arundhati
मॉर्निंग
Roy
वॉक
begins
4:30 से
writing
होने
in
पाए तो पहले
post-Soviet period. His
ठीक
debut
है,
novel, The
ठीक
God
है.
of
ओके,
Small
ग्राउंड पे ही
Things,
आना
was
है ना?
published
आ
in
जाओ.
1997, for
ओके,
which he
ओके,
won Booker's
ओके,
Prize.
आ जाओ.
In the novel, The God of Small Things, Arundhati Roy is successful in to an extent in showing how many sections of society are deprived of their rights on the basis of caste, color, and the basis of economic class. Valutha, the protagonist of the God of Small Things, is poor and belongs to a lower caste, and he falls in love with a girl Amu, who is an elite mm, she belongs to the family where Valutha worked as a servant. See, the whole tragedy of this story revolves around this
हाँ,
one issue of discrimination and hatred.
हाँ,
And
इसको
later
बताते
on,
नहीं है.
in 2017, Roy published her second novel, The Ministry of Utmost Happiness. This novel can be called many postmodern appeals can be traced in this novel, especially in the Ministry of Utmost
शेड्यूल नहीं,
Happiness.
abstract ही नहीं
Dalit
है.
related issues like when we meet Tilotma Tillo, she is also half Dalit. Her condition is very much more similar to Saran of
हाँ,
Akkarmashi. And the next
हाँ, क्यों
Dalit
नहीं?
character we met here, Saddam Hussein alias Dayachand, who was also a Dalit, but disguises himself as a Saddam Hussein because of some intrigue and intentions. Now, the what I'm trying to find in this research paper, I'm trying to see limba lim uh, lim wait identity quest contrast of realism and idealism means Limbale's Akkarmashi is autobiography. Undoubtedly, in this writing, he tried to present whatever suffering and torture he saw while living in a society as a outcast and the problem
हेलो,
related to Dalits. Limbale has not hesitated to
नमस्कार,
point
नमस्कार.
a picture of the
बढ़िया,
worst even.
आप बताइए.
Limbale opened those aspects
बोलिए.
of human
जी.
of himself which even in today's society people hesitate to speak openly. He
क्या
knew
कर
very
रही है?
well that whatever he is depicting in his autobiography, the whole world is going to read it. Still, he did not hesitate to introduce his plighted identity. For instance, Zimbabwe is found very vociferous and vocal on the assertion of his identity. In general, Dalit is identified by the profession assigned to him by the society. Next thing, throughout the narrative of Akkarmashi, Limbale presents a picture of a crisis of identity, and we can say this is a puzzle regarding his existence. Because he is always trying to hide his sorry birth Actually, birth defines the identity of a person in the very first stage, but Limbale believes and portrays it boldly that his birth is the curse for him because he was born out of illegitimate sexual relations of his mother with Hanmanta Limbale. He writes, "My first breath must have threatened the morality of the world. With my first cry at birth, milk must have splashed from the breast of every Kunti."
Dear
Now,
presenter, uh, kindly
yes,
conclude in
yes,
two
sir.
minutes.
The second point of my paper is revolutionary political narrative versus social measure. Like his ideal Ambedkar, Limbale was struggling against social evils, which was his experience. Yet, if we measure Akkarmashi on the spectrum of politics and society, undoubtedly we find some political element. But in Limbale's way, there are very strong dissatisfaction with the society. He appears to be in the mood of wage an internal war against the evil caste discrimination inherent in the Indian society. On, on the other side, we see in the Ministry of Utmost Happiness, mm, as we know, in 2017, BJP was completing his first phase, and at that time, so many minority were being targeted in the name of cow slaughter across the country, which remained a political issue. We can clearly get a glimpse of it in the novel Ministry of Utmost Happiness. Dalit Dayachand Saddam Hussein, his father, was a victim of mob lynching. Mob lynching and cloud science had become a political discourse at the time, which we find mentioned in the novel with with a very strong and potential voice. Now, the conclusion of the my paper is that as Chinua Achebe taunted Joseph Conrad's novella Heart of Darkness, that does this literary work criticizes imperialism or just exemplify it? And an analytical study of both Arundhati Roy novel from The God of Small Things and The Ministry of Utmost Happiness through the eye of Saran Kumar Limbale leaves us in dilemma and make us think like Achibe. Are the characters portrayed by Roy are the realistic depiction of the oppressed and downtrodden voices, or somehow influenced by political and ideological biases? In his autobiography, Akkarmashi, Limbale presented exactly what he saw, understood, and felt directly. This is the reason why the terminology used in his writing sometimes becomes controversial. He was writing an autobiography, so while remaining true to his writing, he tried to depict the realistic picture as possible he could. Now, Arundhati Roy, like Limbale, seemed to be playing the role of a social activist, journalist, at par with, or even more of a novelist. But a superficiality can be found
Prakash, your
in her
content
literature.
here,
Yes, sir, but
your
last year.
no,
Whatever Roy wrote
dear
in his
presenter, kindly conclude.
yes, sir, yes, sir. Whatever Roy wrote in his literature could be the result of his socio-political studies, but Limbale describes his experience. That is why Limbale's claim that only Dalit can create the best Dalit literature by expressing his her true sufferings seems justified here. Thank you,
Only
sir.
Dalit can create the best
Okay,
Dalit.
thank you, Prakar, for your presentation. Sir, questions?
Only Dalit can create
If
the
there are
best
any
Dalit
questions,
literature. ये लिम्बाले का comment है. ये
sir, you're on mute. Kindly unmute.
Mr. Prakar, let me ask one elementary question, maybe the gist of your paper, and pertaining to the title of your research paper as well. How can pain and plight of the Dalits be overcome? How can pain and plight of the Dalits be overcome?
So the first thing that they have to break the hegemony which is built up over the period, and the thing that sufferings whatever they feel, this must be give they should be turned it toward their pain, and just try to catch a aesthetic experience from the writings. this is the best way by which the pain and plights can be overcome. And
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Prakhar.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prakhar. Dr. Matthew, please proceed if there are no other questions.
Yeah, okay, sir. Next presenter is P. Biplin Gotsmadi, and he's a research scholar of English, and also Dr. Anish S. Georgia, who is assistant professor in Scott Christian College, Nagarkoil, and their paper name is Distant Prospect, Nationalism in the Select Short Stories of Jhumpa Lahiri.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm Biblin. My paper entitled Distance Prospect, Nationalism in the
Ma'am, could you
Selected
please switch on your camera? We cannot see you. Yes, thank you.
Okay. A paper entitled Distance Prospect, Nationalism in the Third Short Stories of Jhumpa Lahiri. In India, for all the ongoing changes, whom implicate root in a family, a community, a culture. It is unexpected to a second generation Indian American to miss home in the Indian sense. Tracing the various processes which Indian community went through in different regions of the world as they dropped anchor in new land and I adjust to their new surroundings. It is starting to see how they hold on to their identity as ethnic Indian while remaining loyal to their adopted countries. With regard to Indian emigrants, four waves could be identified. They are the first in pre-colonial time, Indians living our shore as travelers, teachers, and traders. The second involved the enforced migrant of Indian labor as a servant of the British Empire. The third, the tragic displacement of a million by the horror of partition. And the fourth, the contemporary phenomenon of killed Indians seeking opportunity and challenge in our globalized world. As a second generation immigrant, one would feel as outsider. Jhumpa Lahiri keeps telling that she does not belong to a particular place. A sense of isolation and state of immigration makes her identity rootless. It is no exaggeration to say that she is much more American than her parents. With a new distinct voice, Jhumpa Lahiri, like her predecessor, record the problem in a new society in a fresh manner. She gives importance to minute details about the disappointment and feeling of the new life in the new places. In her selected short story, A Temporary Matter, Jhumpa Lahiri deals with the life of Shobha and Sukumar. Both born to the Indian parents but settled down in the United States. Sukumar is an academic who regularly has to go outside for a conference while Shobha is expecting a baby. When he returned back, he is stunned by a news of the birth of a stillborn baby, symbolically signifying the stillness that has crept in their own relationship. Sukumar fondly remembers his bygone days with his father, who is no more, whereas Shobha recollected a rice ceremony in India. Later to the birth of a baby there. Sukumar wished now that he had his own childhood story in India, that the Bengali Shobha and Sukumar, who have to cope with an displacement, use this time to exchange secrets that have driven them apart since the death of their
first baby. They feel happy when they share the memory of their nation, India. They remember of their first meal. Then they're discussing more about the Indian food. Food provides a link and it includes a sense of belonging in an alien world. Food serves as a key to binding. In a strange land, familiar items of food are as welcome as familiar faces, just as music and other things. In another one short story, when Mr. Prasad comes to dine, Jhumpa deals with the life of Lily, a small girl living happily with her parents in New England. In their sedate family life, a lot of warmth is added when Mr. Prasad, on a scholarship from Pakistan to USA for some botanical research, visit them almost every night. Mr. Prasad has an appealing personality, a lecturer in botany at Dhaka University. He has to leave behind his wife of 20 years and 7 daughters ranging between 6 to 16 with all of their names beginning with the letter A. The story throws light on the cultural difference between an Indian family settled in USA and a Muslim academician who is temporarily there. The next short story, Mr. Sense, the title of the short story, deals with the life of a young girl, and she's suffering with loneliness in US. And Mrs. Sen, a woman of 30 and without a child of her own so far, has to spend almost all her time in the university apartment. While Mr. Sen, a professor of mathematics, is all the time busy in his academic work. Mrs. Sen remembers every moment in Calcutta, her dear city, when fresh fish of favorite type are available in plenty all the time. Other than realizing fish, the next important thing in her life is a letter from home. Once, when Elliot collected a letter and gave it to her, overjoyed, she embraced him, which in American way maybe recalled her. She's always waiting for those letters coming from her relative because they contain the details of her past life in Calcutta. So I'm concluding here. The heartfelt and emotional attachment was still fully shown in the short stories. The nationalism still exists when one looks back into his or her past. As a writer of Indian origin, Jhumpa Lahiri has made the Indian proud through her writing. Nationalism is a seed which has to be sowed to guard their identity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bipling Godsmith. The session is open for questions. Sir? Dr. Soodson, any questions?
Yes, one question. How is your erudite scholar, how is your research paper beneficial for society in general and literature in particular? I repeat my question. How is your research paper beneficial for society in general and literature in particular?
It helps the research scholars to know more about their culture and about their nationalism.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions, participants? Yeah, so I just move on to the next presenter. He is Dr. Prem Shankar Pandey, Assistant Professor and Editor at Hindustan Institute of Technology and Science, and his paper title is Ambivalence of the Self, the determinant of deteriorating married relationships. Dr. Prem, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rasin Matthew, sir, Dr. Yogesh Chandra Sood, sir, and the entire team of this event. I'm really very thankful for giving me the opportunity to present my paper. Thank you so much, sir. Can you please confirm, am I audible and my screen is visible to you?
Yes, sir, very much. Please continue.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So I'm Dr. Prem Pandey. I'm assistant professor and editor of Hindustan University, Chennai. The paper I'm presenting today is titled Ambivalence of the Self, the Detriment of Deteriorating Married Relationship. This research paper is basically a psycho-social perspective for looking at a social issue from an interdisciplinary perspective. So the objective of my research is to analyze the root cause of deteriorated married relationship in our society from psychoanalytical theory of Alfred Adler and Scott Barry Kaufman. The research problem that I'm dealing with in this research paper is whether psychological ambivalence is the root cause of increasing divorces in India and around the world. I have gone through the several research papers in the thesis, and these are the main literature review, which is directly concerned with my own research. One is done by Shelby B. Scott, who published his research in 2013. When it's time to investigate the reasons for divorce and recollections of pre-marital intervention, implications for improving relationship education. In this research paper, he has tried to find out the major causes of divorces, and he came out that the reasons were infidelity, domestic violence, and substance use. But in this research, I did not trace what is the root cause that is instigating the husband and the wives to go for a divorce. Certainly, if there are two minds, will never go together. But some psychological disorders may be involved into those cases. That what I found as a research gap. So in spite of reading all these papers, I found that there is no such research available which is trying to investigate the matter from the psychological perspective, looking at the psychological disorders in the individual behind this problem. If we talk about the research methodology, the reason for conducting this research is in the present time, divorce rate is increasing day by day, leaps and bounds, and people are getting socially detached, especially after COVID, post-COVID time. And so ambivalence of self and deterioration of intimacies, although are two different branches of the same tree, but quite related to each other. So this review of existing literature is done through libraries as well as some online resources. This research is basically a qualitative research, and my findings are based on the textual analysis of the primary and the secondary sources. Research is based on the critical study of the psychological theory of Alfred Adler, especially his need for hierarchy needs triangle, and the Scott Barry Kaufman theory of descendants. Then the collection of data has been done from various libraries and online resources like JSTOR, Project News, ProQuest, and Show. So in this presentation, I'll be talking about the ambivalence of self in brief, and what are the causes of deterioration of relationship, and how to restore those relationships from the psychological perspective before I conclude. So, as we know that intimate, long-lasting relationship of husband and wife is the key factor for propelling the human race and civilization. Our population will only increase when the husband and wife are able to maintain their relationship for a longer time. And there has been a very famous maxim that two minds never goes together. So when husband and wife are having two minds, that will definitely not go together because we all have different intellectuals. So that is the reason in the recent time, the alarming divorce rate throughout the world has propelled me to take this concern seriously and find the root cause of such deteriorating relationship, and also to look for an immediate solution. So a healthy relationship is also the key factor in one's life's happiness. And the many divorces are there which reach to the court for legal resolution, but there are many which remains uncounted. They are not in the list of the primary or the secondary sources because they do not reach to the core and they are resolved virtually. So such divorces are not recorded in this research as well. If I look at the data, this is the secondary data. This is not collected by me. This is secondary data already available. This shows that I have used this data just to emphasize my problem that such kind of problems are not there only in India but around the world. So we can see here that from 1913 to 2013, how the divorce rate is increasing alarmingly day by day. Not only in India, but let's see the condition of divorce rate in United Kingdom. In 1961, the divorces in were total 27,000, but by 2002, it has reached to 160,000. And what about the USA? In America, every 13 seconds, there is a one divorce. And every year, there are 24,19,196 divorces. So why this divorce rate is increasing and we are unable to control? That is the main problem that I have taken for this research. From the perspective of Alfred Adler's theory of hierarchy needs. So as we know that in an interpersonal relationship, ambivalence arises where there is a coexistence of conflicting feelings and desires for the other person. We are always in the habit of wishing a better brand of relationship. Whatever we have, we are not satisfied. Rather, we always strive for better than that. And this is how Alfred Adler came out with the theory of hierarchy needs, where he said that the most important need is the physiological needs, that is food, water, sex, sleep, excretion, like things. And in the simple way, I can say roti, kapda, makan. But the idea of Alfred Adler was that, first of all, once physiological needs are completed, then only we need to go for a next level of need, that is safety needs, followed by love and belonging, esteem, and self-actualization. But if we look at this theory from the present scenario, from the present point of view, we find that it is not step-by-step process. It is not always that first physiological need will be fulfilled, then only we will move to the safety and then to love. Why not love comes as the first and it comes as a physiological needs? Once love develops, the rest of the things automatically goes together. So according to my research, I believe that the third need, that is the love and belonging, comes as the physiological need, followed by all other needs. And this safety needs, esteem needs, yeah, they are important. But the most important is the need for love and the need for self-actualization. The partners are sometimes in the state of ambivalence because we always have conflicting thoughts going in our mind that we call it as a good wolf and the bad wolf. So always we have a conflicting attitude in our mind, and because of that, many times in our life our thoughts are not matching with our partners, maybe with the wife or the husband. Sometimes an individual. And sometimes when the sex becomes the physiological need of a partner, the first need of a partner, he remains failed to reach the all other needs, including the need of love, need of self-esteem and safety. So recently, a new researcher whose name is Scott Barry Kaufman, he came with the new theory of transcendence, which I liked, and this is the modified version of the triangle hierarchy of Maslow. So Maslow said that a person can only move on to addressing the higher level needs when their basic needs are adequately fulfilled. And this was totally counteracted by Scott Barry Kaufman in his groundbreaking work, Transcend, the New Science of Actualization. So what he says in this theory, he says that the main purpose of the life should be the fulfillment in the life. We should feel ourselves complete, not by striving for money or by safety or success or happiness, but by becoming the best version of ourselves. That is self-realization and self-actualization. And he says that if we are able to realize ourselves, our own characteristics, we are able to introspect ourselves, we will be better able to deal with our partner. And this theory is taken by me to prove my point that this ambivalence of self is the main cause for the deterioration of relationship. Whether it's a husband or a wife, all the time we are not always satisfied with what we have. And because of that, we always strive for more, whether it's a physical thing or the material or the moral. So according to Kaufman, maintaining of every relationship must have a purpose and a goal which can lead the partners for transcendence. It is not a general theory that can be applied to each and every couple. Rather, this self-actualization and realization differs from person to person, and no theory can be exactly applied on one couple. And we can say that if you apply this theory or if you apply this concept, your life will be fully satisfied or you'll be fully happy. So they needs to do self-investigation, self-introspection, and that is the main idea for getting their deteriorated relationship to restore the state of permission. Because Scott Barry Kaufman in his book Transcend and New Science of Self-Actualization mentioned the idea of Maslow's.
Dr. Prem Shankar, could you please conclude with...
yes.
Yeah.
Sure, sir. Okay, so I'll directly move on to my conclusion, where I say that the process of being a whole human being is a continual journey of exploration, transparency, and confidence, through which we achieve greater and higher degrees of equilibrium and reconciliation between ourselves and the outside world. So as we are in the state of transition at all times, we are still in a state of being. And we are supposed to follow our own introspections, our own ideas, and then we need to understand our partner. That is the main thing for restoring our deteriorated relationship. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Prem, for your wonderful presentation. Congratulations. And is there any questions, sir?
Dr. Prem,
yes, sir.
A very fascinating subject you have chosen for your research paper.
Thank you,
it's
sir.
a very relevant research paper, I would like to say, in context of modern times.
Thank you so much.
One question, please. Is there the impact of foreign culture on Indian culture that divorces are taking place in our society?
Surely, sir, there is no doubt, as we are the colonized country and we have been suffering from this colonization since last 50 years. And day by day, we are becoming more colonized. Day by day, we feel ourselves deteriorated and we are following the traditions of the Western country. And the more we follow, the more we are degrading ourselves.
Thank you very much. Congratulations on presenting such a brilliant and scintillating research paper. My heartiest felicitations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you
Dr.
so much.
Matthew, please proceed.
Thank you, sir. Arprida Raj, Arjida Raj, if you are there, you can present within 4 minutes.
Yes, sir. Sir, we are here. Myself, Dr. Arpita Raj, and my co-presenters, her name is Arjita Raj. Sir, we are going to present our paper, Jackal as a Cultural Hero in Indigenous Folktales Study. Sir, I am presenting my screen here. Yes, sir. Sir, thank you, sir. In my first slide, I have discussed what is folktale. What do we understand by folktale? Folktale is a very important part of our life, and especially in the life of indigenous people. It tells us about an age-old story that has been told many times through generation after generation, and usually they were orally transmitted from one generation to after one generation. But many times they have been translated, they have been documented, and folktales sometimes is related with a kind of myth, and sometimes they express knowledge, belief system, culture, history of any race, and each and every civilization is somehow is related with their folk culture and folk literature. Now, as we are discussing folk tale of a specific indigenous race, which is named as Santal, So I would like to discuss some issues about indigeneity. What is indigeneity, or which are the characteristics of indigenous people, or which are the features which help to form the indigenous nature of the Santal people. I have mentioned some characteristics. First is primitivity. These Janajati, which are called Janajati or primitive people, who are living in our country from the very ancient time, and they are the original people. We may say that native also, and they are very ecosystem. And here I mean ecosystem means they are related with ecology. Environment and jal, jungle, jamin as water, forest and land. They are related and they love to live amidst nature, and it is also called their nature-centric approach. They are very much conscious about their communal identity, and which has been often expressed by their folktales. And animism, which is related with our topic and with our paper also, animism, by which they represent, they show that they believe in some spirit, and each and every natural object, like animals, inanimate object like forest, river, sun, everywhere they see that some spirit is there, and they worship them. And later I have also discussed some issues like legal pluralism. They are also helpful in forming indigenous identity, which we may call as indigeneity. Now, who are Santal? We also should know Santals are one of the largest indigenous tribes of eastern India, and according to the census of 2011, it numbers about 5 million in the whole India. They mainly live in Chotanagpur Plateau, West Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, and Jharkhand, and part of some Jharkhand. And this definition of the Santals, who belong to the so-called scheduled tribe, is given in the constitution, and in our article they have been mentioned in article schedule number 5 and 6 and 366 also. They live in a particular part or in a particular area, and they have been their own judicial system, own administrative system, which they follow and maintain. And like us, that means the mainstream people, we have a specific legal system, but they don't follow them, and our constitution has allowed them to follow that. We don't, our constitution, our legal system don't interfere in their matters. And these indigenous tribe have their own system, and they have their own folktales also, and they have some features of folktales, especially the Santal people and the indigenous people, like they follow a tradition, and they have some rural culture.
Sorry to interfere. Could you please move on to your findings to conclude?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Actually, I have tried to show how Jackal plays the role of a cultural hero. Cultural hero, by that we mean actually that a kind of mythical or historical figure who presents the idea or ideas of a society. He may be specific to some group of people, like we say Arjuna, Karna, or Lord Krishna. We in our Hindu culture. So how we find out Jackal plays that kind of role in Santal folktale. In Pure Boarding Santal Folktale Volume 1, we find out, I have mentioned here, I have collected 2 to 3 stories, but there are a collection of stories where in 15 to 20 stories where Jackal is playing the cultural hero's role. So in a story, that title of the story is Jackal and a Husband and Wife, where the Jackal appears as a cultural hero. How it is that one day the husband and the wife were walking, and suddenly a bhoot, that means a spirit, appears there, and he takes the same form of the husband, and they started claiming, the women, each of them, that they are wife. Now Jackal appears there, and he actually find out the solution, and in that way he saves the difficult, to save to have a actually help them in that difficult situation. Actually here the problem, the folktale, as we know, it entertains us. Here the problem is actually indicating to some serious problem, where the Jackal takes the form of a savior and saves. And in another short story, that the Jackal and the leopard, we find out that in the same way the leopard was causing much problem to the villagers and to another animals in the forest. And now we find out that Jackal appears there and he tries to help the leopard, and finally it is killed. Now the leopard is just a symbol, because here the symbol, it is symbolizing some social issues, some problems that actually is very much harmful to human civilization, and Jackal plays the role and he saves the mankind in that way. So actually here I am the conclusion, the last slide, we find out here that Jackal appears in indigenous folktale at a time when the other systems of justice have already failed, and always at the climax of the story. Now, like a hero, it helps the people going through the distress and suffering. And in the next point that I finally find out that the indigenous folktales that deal with the judgment of the jackal it leaves an impact on the mind of the readers and gives instruction so that the next generation does not commit the same mistake. As we know that the folktales, fables, they always teach us a lesson. So that in the jackal here plays that role, that it actually teaches us that how to solve a problem, what the mistake with the mankind should not commit, as cultural hero does. That's all, sir.
Thank you, Arpita, for your presentation. Sir, any questions?
Sir, I want to mention here, sir. Can I please?
Yes, please.
Sir, actually, in the list that there was the name mention of only one name, my co-presenter Orjita Raj. My name was missing, sir. I mailed actually in your email ID, and in the group also I had written. Sir, please take my name also, Dr. Orjita Raj.
Okay, could you please message me here so that I can get the correct ID?
Okay, sir. I am mentioning here my name also. So should I only mention my name or my designation also?
Please message in the message box in this session. I will note it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Any questions, Yogesh, sir?
Yeah, learned scholar. One question. Folktales are fast disappearing. My question is, how can folktales be revived? Folktales are fast disappearing. How can folktales be revived?
Folktales have been translated. Actually, folktales remains in oral tradition. As I said, that they are transmitted generally only from generation to generation in oral format. But nowadays, they have been translated, and many researchers are working on particular community like Santal, Munda. So in that way, so research are going on, and they can be revived.
Thank you very much. Dr. Matthew, please proceed.
Yes, thank you. I believe that there are no other presenters in the technical session 1 who are right now here. I believe Garima Singh is not present today. Thank you, Arpita Raj, for your presentation. And due to the limitation of time, I just hand over the session to the technical session 2, co-chair Dr. Gagandeep Singh and chairperson Dr. Ravi Gupta. Are you here, sir?
Hello. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I believe that you are waiting. You were waiting for the to start your session, right? Please, Arpita,
Yes.
please stop presenting your slides. Dear Arpita Raj, please stop presenting your screen.
Sorry. Extreme sorry. I'm doing.
Yeah. Over to you, Ravi Gupta, sir, and Gagandeep, sir. Thank you, presenters.
Gagandeep sir is there? Hello. Dr. Gagandeep Singh is there? Okay, I don't think he has joined. So, anyhow, so today we are going to have a presentation in this technical session 2. We are today going to have 5 presentation. One is by Sonal R. Selekar, Research Scholar, Department of Visual Arts, Graphic Era, Hill University, Uttarakhand. Then second one is Sanjana Rawat, students of BFA from Department of Visual Arts. Again, Graphic Era Hill University, Dehradun. Then Urvasi Srivastava from Dehradun. Then TK Sahu, that is from MIT University, Noida. Then Srishti, that is research scholar in Graphic Era Hill University, Dehradun. So, let me allow one by one for the presentation. So moderator is already not there. Wait for a while. Let me connect the monitor. Okay, I'm not able to connect him. So whether Sonal R. Selekar, Research Scholar, Department of Visual Graphic Era, Hill University, Dehradun, she is there. Sonal?
हेलो डॉक्टर साहब, आपके यहाँ डॉक्टर गगनदीप हैं, ज्वाइन नहीं किए हैं, बोलिए करें, क्या कर रहे हैं?
Then we are having Sanjana Rawat. Gagan sir have already joined. Gagan sir, could you call one by one participant?
Namaskar sir. Namaskar sir.
Namaskar.
Very good evening to all.
Platform 1 ही है, top वाला.
On the behalf of all the participants of the current sessions, I warmly welcome today's chairperson of this session, Dr. Ravi Kumar Gupta. He is assistant in Humanities, Madan Mohan Malviya University of Technology, Gorakhpur, Uttar Pradesh. Sir, as per the list I get, there is a 5 presenter for this current session. First is the R. Salikar, Research Scholar, Department of Visual Art, Graphic Era Hills University.
Confusion of link? Sorry to interrupt you. Is there any confusion of link?
Hello sir. जो previous जो link था उसमें मैं join नहीं कर पाया, तो फिर अभी join किया था.
I was also not able to join, so they have so this link was available, and they have asked to join this link. Anyhow, please invite the presenters.
So I request अभी तक जिसने प्रेजेंट नहीं किया है, काइंडली वो अपना नाम बता सकते हैं. अब मेरे पास जो है आर सालिकर, रिसर्च स्कॉलर, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ विजुअल आर्ट. इज देयर एनीवन?
Sanjana Rawat is there.
Sanjana Rawat. Second is Sanjana Rawat, student of BFA, Department of Visual Arts.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So this is Amanpreet Kaur. Actually, I wanted to present paper in the last session where my supervisor was there, Dr. Yogesh Chandra.
Please, ma'am, go ahead. Aman.
Okay. No, yes. This is Amanpreet Kaur, sir.
Okay.
So, sir, today, please allow me to share my presentation, please.
Meeting host is requested to allow Amanpreet Kaur for presentation.
Thank you so much, sir. So this is my presentation, and I'm doing PhD under the guidance of Dr. Yogesh Chandra Sood, and I am working as assistant professor also in Sant Baba Bhag Singh University, Jalandhar. So today my topic is role of digital advancement in the promotion of research with an easy access to literature. So here I would like to tell that at the time of COVID, nobody was allowed to go out to the libraries, whether you are the members of the libraries or not. But at that time, we all had tough time, but also I want to add here that we had good time to spend at home and to explore more. So there was only one friend, that was the Google or other social media sites from where we could gather a lot of stuff. And I'm really thankful to that, and really thankful to the authorities who have given such a beautiful topic on that, because without it, we cannot work nowadays. So here, the introduction of my topic is digital humanity is at the leading edge of applying computer-based technology in the humanities. Initially called humanities computing, the field has developed tremendously over the past so many years. It actually focused on the enhancement of digital tools and the creation of archives and databases for texts, which I had already mentioned that we took a lot of help from digital sources, artworks and other materials. From these initial uses, and as it developed, computers offered increasingly tender ways of handling and searching digitized culture. For instance, with recent advances in digital imaging, it is now possible to produce very high quality reproductions of books and artworks that can transform our ability to study them. The key to understanding the digital humanities is to ignore the idea that digital technology is invading the academy. Computers were used for humanist and from very early in their history, and not only as one might expect to store large libraries of data. So these are online libraries. Computer networks, particularly the internet, have also helped digital files to be used from almost anywhere in the whole world. This access to information has had a tremendous effect on the ability to undertake research in the arts and humanities. Now I'll move to the objectives of my paper. So it is easier for computers to manage text data more than images, audio, video, or other data forms. So data mining makes it easier for literary scholars to study text and generate new information. As I will discuss in my further presentation, that how it helped me in finding how I got the help from it for my thesis. Computers and compositions have been associated together for a long time. It is easier to create electronic archives and electronic editions of texts. Next, to continue with the same objectives, literary projects involving hypertext and other electronic forms and more diverse and vibrant. English departments are more open to cultural studies, where computers and other digital resources are used heavily for analysis. With the proliferation of e-book devices and the interest in e-reading, it is easy to perform data mining and distance readings of millions of books at a time. So my main focus is on research has become easy in the ongoing world of computer and internet. With one click or command, any aspect of literature is a step ahead through Google or other electronic means. Now, in the earlier slide, I have explained that
Arpita,
yes, sir.
Sorry, Amandeep Kaur, no? It is Amandeep Kaur.
Amanpreet Kaur.
Kindly switch on your camera. It is going live. So my humble request, please.
Yes, sir. 1 second.
Yeah, it is on air. So please.
Actually, for that, I think I need to stop sharing the slide. Actually, I am computer savvy, but not that much, sir.
Okay, then continue. No problem.
Kindly conclude within 3 minutes.
Okay, sure, sir. I will definitely. So to begin with the concept of mimicry, I have taken this topic because I had keen interest in this topic as it is the part of my thesis. So mimicry, it was being introduced by Homi K. Bhabha, And he had mentioned it in the location of culture. He gave this concept because nowadays also people are trying to mimic other people, and if we are not going out, so we can get the idea from the internet or the social media. And if we want to design in the same way the clothes or any other jewelry or any other thing, if we want, so we can get the idea from internet resources to make or to create ourselves in the same way. So here I would like to mention about Mulk Raj Anand's two heroes, two protagonists, one Bhaka from Untouchable and one Chandu from his short story, The Barbers' Trade Union, who were trying to imitate the other people, just not for the sake they want to impress other people, because they wanted to imitate like them, to develop their level, to develop their status. So here he gave this concept to differentiate between colonized and colonizers. It is a post-colonial theory that got its existence when it was civilized. So as I'm having less time, so I'll move to the next slide. So in Mulk Raj Anand's short story, The Barbers' Trade Union, I want to give here the description of Chandu, who wanted to adapt new technology, and he wanted to leave the stereotype people, and he became arrogant for that, because he wanted to adapt these new techniques and technologies, and he was not at all liked by other people. So the way Chandu adopted the new techniques and ideas, as well as dressed up like a doctor, Dr. Khan, to teach a lesson to the stereotyped villagers, and finally got success. So everything, whatever we do, we don't want, if we have an urge to do, we can do that. So lastly, I would like to, my findings for this paper are, literature has played a key role in the development of the digital humanities, with scholarship and pedagogy being so easily available to the public through open access publishing, open access resources, digital archives, and other initiatives. Digital humanities plays a pivotal role in the study and teaching of literature. And here also I would like to talk about the mimicry, which I had discussed earlier, and the way people in the present scenario take help of media to look different. So knowingly or unknowingly, all are following mimicry. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Amanpreet Kaur. Sir, any question? सर आपका म्यूट अनम्यूट करो. सर आप अनम्यूट कीजिए अपने उसको.
Hello. It was a very nice presentation about the data mining and literature and the technology. So I appreciate the presentation, the way she had presented with the many examples. So Dr. Gagandi, please allow the other participants to join.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your positive comments, sir. Thank you so much.
Now I would like to invite here Srishti Mamgain, research scholar of Graphic Era Hill University, Dehradun. अगर वो जहाँ पर है.
Yes. Good afternoon to everyone. So I'm Srishti Mamgai, research scholar from Graphic Era Hill University, Dehradun, and here I'm presenting my PPT. Sir, is it visible, sir?
Yes.
Visible, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, sir. So the topic is Aipan art, a reflection of traditional art of Uttarakhand. So introduction. Aipan is one of Uttarakhand's traditional folk art paintings form. It is made by women of Uttarakhand. Basically, it is a variation of Rangoli. In Uttarakhand, the art is deeply rooted in social, cultural, and religious value. This artwork originates from the Kumaon region of Uttarakhand. It is also used to adorn dupattas or pichoras. The art form, this Aipan art form, is done on the dupattas and pichoras. Every Kumaoni home has a special spot for the art known as Aipan or Alpana. Aipan is a term that derives from Arpan Although it is a pattern formed with the fingers, the word likhai is frequently used to describe it. This Aipan art is basically used for pujas, festivals, and events related to birth, maternity, marriage, and death. Aipan are employed as ceremonial designs, often painted at places of worship, homes, and the front entrances of the houses. Objective of the study. The present study was conducted keeping in mind the following objective. The study of this Aipan art is, it gives us rich and intricate heritage of Aipan art form in Uttarakhand. To assess the social, cultural, and religious significance of the folk art of Uttarakhand, that is Aipan art. To explore the changing trends and patterns of Aipan art. To examine the modernization of this art and its employability in different products. Significance of Aipan art. Aipan is traditional art form used by the women of Kumaon to decorate their homes for special occasion. Earlier, it was done by the women of Kumaon region of Uttarakhand on the occasion of Diwali and many weddings and festivals that was practiced outside the Kumaon also. Aipan are patterns that are utilized during celebration, puja, and different ceremonies involving birth, marriage, and thread ritual known as Janeo, as well as in the event of death. The walls, furniture, and documents are meticulously decorated with the variety of geometric and other figures that represent God, goddesses, and other elements of nature. In all Kumaoni houses, Aipan is a form of art that is treasured. Geru or crimson vermilion paste serves as the base for the Aipan. First, the base is being ready for the design, which is then decorated with the patterns made of rice paste. Earlier, the rice is used for making this, but nowadays we are using other things also, colors, paints, and all. Daughters and daughter-in-law receive the patterns from their mothers. Some of the designs have religious significance and are specifically created for ritual performing during events like marriages, threading ceremony, naming ceremonies, etc. Every single Aipan design has a distinct significance and is created with a certain goal in mind. In the past, natural dyes were utilized to create the paint, but today both poster, oil colors, and other new things are also used to improve the output of the Aipan art. It is powerful art form that is widely practiced in the state of Uttarakhand. Now also it is practiced, but now digital forms are also used in this Aipan art. Methodology that is used for this paper is qualitative approach of research has been taken. Descriptive research through arguments have been taken. Secondary sources like books, journals, and web sources. A keen observation on the trends and changing patterns in the Aipan art has been done through developing a comparative study towards modern and traditional approach of Aipan. Classification of Aipan. According to many researchers, the Aipan art was classified as many things like, according to Chattopadhyay, Sidhu, Davya, and Laukika are the three different styles of Aipan. Sidhu is an Aipan art that is drawn on the ground in the chokis. Chokis are small wooden plank that is used in the pujas and all. Davya, it is a type of patta. It features dwar pattas, manual designs, and astrological motifs used for the pujas. Laukika, it is a bar bone style. These are wall drawings done on the walls. According to Shah, later characterized the Aipan in distinct styles. Classification based on the location from which Aipan are drawn. Paintings on the floor are called floor paintings. These are additionally separated into two categories: Aipan drawn at doorsteps, creepers and filler design, and Aipan drawn at places of worship, Shiv Peeth, Lakshmi Peeth, Asan. Wall paintings are pictures that are painted on walls. The two classic type of wall paintings are Nata and Lakshmi Narayan. for the kitchen and the pattas for the location of ceremonies. On fabric, Aipan art is also used for the dupattas and pichoras. Aipan artists use the fabric also. Wooden chowkis are also used. These are deity worship seats made with Aipan and utilized for various occasions like worship, ceremonial occasion, festivals, and weddings. Classification on the basis of use of Aipan of different occasion: birth, marriage. So different chowkis are used for these ceremonies. Like Acharya Chowki, the groom is always accompanied among others by his own Pandit or Acharya. Vivah Chowki, this seat is specially prepared for the occasion of marriage. The wooden seat is provided by the groom side and the background color is yellow. Dhuli Arghya Chowki. This chowki is mainly made to welcome bridegroom. Jyoti Patta. In the hills of Kumaon, among the Brahmin and Shah families, there is a practice of drawing a jaunty on the wedding or a sacred thread ceremony. When thread ceremony is done, then these chowkis are used. Durga Thapa is painted on paper by the women of Kumaon for Durga Pujas. Lakshmi Yantra in the hills of Kumaon, as in other parts of India, the goddess of wealth, Lakshmi is worshipped during the festival of Diwali, Kali Puja. Janmashtami Patta for the purpose of worshipping Lord Krishna on the day of his birth. Janmashtami Patta was specially created. These are some chowkis, Jyoti Patta, Dhuli Arghya Chowki, Vivah Chowki, and Acharya Chowki. So here is my conclusion. It was noted that the Kumaon region of Uttarakhand practices the Aipan patterns. Basically, the Aipan patterns are used by the Kumaoni people or the Kumaon region of Uttarakhand due to modernization and the desire of better lifestyle. Now it is modernized also, and now it is coming in the form of stickers and paint also has been used. Both government and non-governmental organizations are fighting to preserve this work of art. Every Aipan has a certain social, religious, and cultural meaning. Aipan designs are easily adaptable for use in developing border layouts. Though the use of tools available, many tools and paints that manually we use for the Aipan art, now Coral Draw program is also used for the making of these Aipan design in digital form. Application of adapted designs into border arrangements and reproduction of border arrangements in various color schemes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Srishti ma'am again. Sir, any question?
Yes, actually, it was very interesting topic, and I love to listen the topic and the way she have presented. And this
Thank you so
topic
much,
is
sir.
basically in line of Make in India move. So, Srishti, I have one query: how the globalization have impacted the Aipan art culture? So, is it positively impacting or it is negatively impacting?
Sir, actually now Aipan art is the folk art of Uttarakhand. It is globally developing also. But sir, according to the digital work, the ladies that work in the field are not getting that much of importance. That's why, sir, according to me, I think so that it is degrading, and we have to preserve the art form.
And what about the government stand? Whether the government is supporting the local art like
Yes,
Aipan
sir.
art?
Yes,
Is there any
sir.
scheme?
Sir, some organizations are also made for the preservation of this Aipan art. So government is also thinking about this to preserve the folk art of Uttarakhand. So
Okay. Thank you, Srishti, for such a nice and wonderful presentation. Over to
okay,
Dr.
thank you so
Gagan.
much, sir.
Now I am announcing R. Selkar, Research Scholar, Department of Visual Art, or Sanjana Rawat, Urvishi Srivastava, T.K. Sahu, if they joined, then kindly present their presentation. Sir, I think
I don't find their names in the list.
मैंने भी जो है लिस्ट में इनके नाम जो है नहीं मालूम, तो अदर्स को अलाउ करें सर, जो जिनका लेफ्ट रेगुलर जो छूट चुके हैं प्रेजेंट करने में।
पूछ लीजिए
डियर पार्टिसिपेंट, अगर कोई जिसकी प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं हुई है तो वह अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन जो है प्रेजेंट कर सकता है। यस, ये हैंड रेज किया है शशवीर दून। शशवीर।
And actually, sir, I have presented my presentation.
Is Dr. Ibrahim Falahu there? Gagan sir?
Yes.
Or Ravi sir, is Dr. Ibrahim Falahu there? Dr. Ibrahim.
Yes.
Yes, I'm available now, sir.
Yeah, he's there.
Sir, kindly allow me to present here Ibrahim Falahu.
Ibrahim Falahu, please start your presentation.
Yes, I'm present.
Ibrahim, kindly switch on your camera.
Okay, sir. Good morning, sir. Am I audible?
Good morning, Ibrahim.
I am Ibrahim from British State University, Nigeria. And my topic.
Please mute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Please mute yourself. Yes, Ibrahim, please start.
Should I continue, sir?
Yes, please continue.
Okay, sir. Good morning, because here in our country it's morning, sir. But good afternoon, sir.
Anyhow, good morning and good afternoon both to you.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, my topic is depiction of poverty and illiteracy in Zainab's Alkali, the stillborn. And introduction of this topic is African continent experiencing great discrimination among them as a result of worldly material. These issues bridge a huge gap between upper class and working class in their daily activities. So Zainabat Alkali portrays issues and problems that lead the happiness of poverty and illiteracy shouldered on the lower class. Alkali, as an indigenous of northern Nigeria, she portrays the vices of the region in terms of marriage, famine, joblessness, and domestic matters. So this is an introduction of what she already depicted. And I use the theoretical framework as Marxist theory. Marxist theory adopts the method of reading and the text and the other theories to interpret the text. He famously wrote in his first significant economic work, Introduction to Critique of Political Economy in 1859, the ideas of ruling class and in every epoch, the ruling ideas. In capitalism, it is ideology of capitalist class which constitutes the dominant ideology of the society. So in this novel, the depiction of poverty and illiteracy in stillborn presents social environment in which the major characters such as Li, Awa, Fau, and Hawa, which were both in these societies. So Li, she was the major characters. He was the major characters exist in an already structured black society. and she views her life in terms of meaning imposed by her society. So poverty is prevalent, as it was mentioned in page 37. She says, on Friday at dawn hour, Lee and Faku headed towards the hills behind the hill station in search of firewood. So Awa carried a big clay jar of water. Lee and Faku followed their cutlasses balanced on their heads. So this in page 37. So situation of his economic family made propose her husband and direct her for not immediately take her to the city. That made a subject of discussion among the villagers. As mentioned in page 60, she says, what kind of husband keeps a bride waiting for 4 years? She persisted, either he has got himself a city wife or he is impotent. Also, there is a prevalence of exploitations and oppression, where we see Alhaji Bature was the richest person in the village, and he was above 60 years of age, but he did not respect his age due to his wealth. So he exploiting and manipulating people, especially girls of 17, 18, and 20 age, to marry. When he see another girl, then he divorced the first and remarry another. So Lee mentioned in her discussion, she said, Lee made clear interpretation on Alhaji Bature's attitudes. She says, Alhaji Bature was none of these things. He was a greedy, selfishness man who spread his wealth to get what he wanted, even at the cost of other people's happiness. He was cunning, dirty, he showed no interest in a woman until another man did. So no, Alhaji Bature was a born hunter who adorned himself with the number of women he acquired. This is in page 64. So illiteracy were also mentioned in the acts of Alkali, where it played its part in Alkali, and where she portrays lack of education and frustration lead Faku into deep prostitution, as mentioned in the novel. She said, I heard she was left for Kano for some other town and is deep in prostitution. So as a result of illiteracy, a lack of good fortune, so she decided to leave her society, or she decided to leave her community in search of earning a good environment. So she fell deep into prostitution. She left her society and went to the city to look for a good shelter. Conclusively, at this provision of education, mutual understanding, and shunning of away of oppression and exploitation will be the solution of the society. So at the end of the novel, I saw the solution where Alkali's Arshi was already given to the readers, that if illiteracy and education were already provided, but illiteracy, we have to shun the illiteracy and provide education. All these problems and vices of the society will become a history. So these are some of the problems, and these are the problems where I figured out from this novel, like this lack of poverty, and like this availability of this poverty and availability of illiteracy make the northern Nigeria, especially the way she came from. She portrayed the problems of their society. She portrayed the problems of their society, especially this illiteracy and poverty. So she concluded, if all these two things were shun away, definitely the environment will become very good, and they will provide a good shelter to their indigents. So this is the end of my research, of my abstract. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are audible, Ibrahim.
Okay, so conclusively, she figured out the solution of this. So at the end of the book, she says that provide good education, provide good shelter, avoid exploitations, avoid manipulations of the lower classes. Definitely, definitely the society will be saved and have a good environment. So this is the end of my presentation, sir.
Falahu Ataha. Sir, any question?
No question. It was again, a very nice presentation about a novel, about discrimination and many more pathetic situation of Nigeria. So I hope his findings and conclusion will certainly contribute in eliminating the poverty and discrimination. So thank you, Ibrahim Falahu, for a wonderful presentation.
Anyone else जो अभी छूट चुके हैं कि रह चुके हैं कोई एक प्रेजेंटेशन से? अगर किसी की प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं हुई है तो बता सकते हैं अभी फिलहाल. सर, कैन वी कंक्लूड नाउ?
Yes, please conclude.
हाँ, इस सेशन में जैसे हम 5 कैंडिडेट थे, लेकिन उसमें से सिर्फ एक ही कैंडिडेट ने जहाँ पर प्रेजेंटेशन दिया, और कुछ जो अदर्स प्रेजेंटेशन जो छूट चुके थे जैसे अमनप्रीत कौर और इब्राहिम फलाहू है, इन 2 प्रेजेंटेशन ने जहाँ पर प्रेजेंटेशन दिया है, इन सब के लिए धन्यवाद. सर, डॉक्टर रवि Kumar Gupta, coordinator of this conference, international conference on digital humanities. Sir, I humbly thanks to you that you spare your valuable time from very busy and schedule. So, sir, I thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Gagandip and the Achievers Foundation for giving the opportunity to interact such a wonderful presentation. So thank you all to all the presenters.
Okay, Vishnu, the stage is all yours now. So can we have 5 minutes break?
Oh, okay, so no issues. No issues.
I think we need 5 minutes break.
Sure. No issues. No issues.
Till Raman sir and Dr. Sudhir join. Okay, so we can have a break for 5 minutes.
Okay, sir.
Right.
अच्छा किया हम्म 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 हेलो क्या अरे मैं कॉन्फ्रेंस में लगातार बिजी हूँ अभी मॉडरेट कर रहा हूँ भैया ऑर्गेनाइजिंग टीम का कन्वीनर हूँ मैं कैसे भेज दूँ ठीक है हम तुम्हारा फोन में उठा ले रहे हैं यही बहुत है अभी तुम्हारे पास भी तो है भेज दो कहीं ना कहीं होगा ओके हेलो हाँ हाँ हम्म बेस्ट प्रेजेंटर का हमारे यहाँ से एक एक तो इसको रोहिना को दे दीजिए एक रोहिना को दे दीजिए हमारे यहाँ से एक वो अच्छा करती है, क्या नाम है, देख लीजिएगा अगर उस लायक हो, सोनिया भट्ट, ठीक है। हाँ, पेपर भी प्रेजेंट की है वो, और उसने पहले ही सेशन में प्रेजेंट किया है, ठीक है। और एक रूहिना है, और अब देख लीजिए एक किसी और को, ठीक है। ये नाम मैं फॉरवर्ड कर, तो या तो वहां से दे दो एक, जो अभी वहां से प्रेजेंट करी है आईपन आर्ट पे, क्या नाम है उसका, ये अच्छा प्रेजेंटेशन था, रिसर्च ग्राफी के रहा। आप जोड़ो उधर से, आप जोड़ो, बात करते हैं। मेरे को कैसे, हाँ 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 हाँ, ठीक है ठीक है। हमें क्या करना है, हमें तो सर्टिफिकेट ही देना है। हाँ हाँ हाँ, हाँ हाँ हाँ। एक बेस्ट दे दो, 3 कंसोलेशन, फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड 2 कंसोलेशन, ऐसे कर दो, फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड 2 कंसोलेशन, ठीक है ठीक है। हाँ 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 हाँ, इन द पेपर प्रेजेंटेशन कंपटीशन रिसीव द कंसोलेशन। अरे आप तो अभी गड़बड़ हो गया ना, हर सेशन से एक दे सकते थे, क्योंकि एक एक चेयरमैन तो हर सेशन में है नहीं, हर सेशन का बेस्ट प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ द सेशन, हर सेशन से एक उठा के दे दो चाहे। हाँ तो हेलो 8,
Vishnu, are you around?
Yes, sir.
So one session is still in progress, actually. So we are waiting for that particular session. The moment it ends, now we'll start.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So
Okay, sir.
all the other 4 sessions are closed. I think, yeah, they ended, but only one is left. It is going on. So we are waiting for that, right?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay.
ये कौन से फोरम में इंटरेक्शन हो रहा है? इसमें आ ही नहीं रहा है। दूसरा सेशन है क्या लिंक? ये इस पे नहीं चलेगा पुराने वाले पे? हैं? ये तो बड़ा मुश्किल कर रहे हैं सर। मेरे को मेल करो। हाँ, मेल करो।